everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to this technique demonstration. Today I thought I'd show you how to make lattice. Now I've been asked about it from a previous tutorial that I did when I made a card that had a lattice background. So I thought I shall show you how I did it. There's different variants of lattice that you can make. Now I'm not going to say that ours are going to be 100% perfect because we're not going to use a ruler to measure, because you know me, maths are out the window, we're doing it by eye and how something looks. However, if you want to be technical and you want to get your ruler out, that's no problem. We can work with that as well, and let's just have fun with it. That's the main thing. So I've made a few examples of different lattice that I've done previously just to show you, you know, the different effects that you can get with it. This is the one that we're going to do today. Now mine looks a little bit wobbly there, but there is a reason for it. So that's the one that we're going to make. We're going to start off with a basic lattice effect, and then we're going to weave it just to take it to the next level. So you'll be able to either do it as a straightforward lattice or weave your lattice when we've done it. I'll show you what I mean as we go on. So the first thing that we're going to need is a frame for our lattice, something that you can attach the sides of your paper strips to. I'm going to use this frame that I've cut out from a Sizex die. It's square, but it's easy to be able to show you how to do it, and then once you get the grasp of it, you'll be able to go on and take it to any of your die cut frames and use the same method. So I'm starting with a square frame. The strips that I've cut for the lattice, I'll be perfectly honest, they're from the chrysanthemum die that I got for quilling, and it's literally a straightforward die. It cuts 4 strips of paper into 1/2 centimetre lengths. So now, sorry, widths. We're not worried about the length of our strip, but as long as it's longer than the gap that we're going to cover, that's fine. So you can, if you're cutting it with a trimmer, I mean, it doesn't matter about the width. However, you do want them all the same really. So if you're going to go with a 1/2 centimetre width, make sure they're all the same. If you're going to go with a wider one of maybe 1 centimetre, make sure they're all the same. But just make sure you've got enough length to cover your gap. So what I thought was, we'll start at the very beginning. So we're going to turn our frame backwards so the coloured side is facing to our grid. Now I'm going to work on the mat because the mat's kind of the most important bit about making the lattice. And round the edge of our frame I'm going to add semi-permanent adhesive. Now it needs to be semi-permanent at this stage. What you could do, if you haven't got a runner with semi-permanent adhesive, if you've got a quickie glue pen, just run that around the inside of your frame and let it dry so that it goes tacky. Don't use it when it's wet because then it'll turn permanent. So if you use it when it's tacky. So we've got our frame and we've put our semi-permanent adhesive on it. So we're going to start off by taking one of our lengths. We're going to have it face down because obviously all the coloured side or the working side for your card is facing downwards on your grid. So I'm going to take my frame and I'm literally going to line it up the point to point, because I'm going to work with a square and I want the lattice on an angle. So I'm going to take it point to point on the actual grid. Now if you haven't got a mat to work on, this is where you could use a ruler, something like that, just to make sure that you're going to go straight along. But because I'm not measuring it, you wouldn't need your ruler to measure. It's just literally so that you get an idea of how you're placing your strips. So we're going to put the first one straight along the middle. Then we're going to take the second one, if I can pick one up, and I'm going to roughly follow the line on the second of the grid. Now, because we're using semi-permanent adhesive, you can always pick the lengths of paper up and move them if you don't think that you've got it in the perfect position. Now, I'm going to start going a little bit faster because I want to build it up so that you can see it and we can get to the final stage. I'm just going to turn it round. You might find it easier to mask down your frame onto your board just so that it doesn't move while you actually put your paper strips on it. So that's the next one, and I'm not going to worry too much about getting it straight because I'm trying to do it for speed now to be able to show you just the effect. So that's our first layer, and I'm just going to snip off the edges of the strips that are hanging over, like so. Again, you would take a lot more time and make sure they're all neat and tidy. So that's layer number one. So I'm going to turn it so it's pointing the opposite way and line it up, and then I'm going to do exactly the same on this side, making sure that the strips are following on. The one thing I will say about, because I've used the semi-permanent adhesive and not a wet glue, if you use wet glue it will make your paper warp as you're laying it out onto the, on the back of the frame. Once you're on your second side and you've trimmed off the pieces from the first side, you'll be able to use some of the longer lengths that you've actually just snipped off as the pieces. So don't worry about waste either, because you'll be able to, as I've got one of the smaller pieces here, this will go towards the bottom, and that one. So let's just get a longer one. So we'll just keep building it up. Don't worry about the fact of them maybe not sticking right at the moment, because we're going to sort that out at the end. So I think that's my last piece, just in that corner. Okay, so we've got the basis of our lattice now. Again, mine's not 100% perfect because I'm rushing and I'm looking at it through a camera lens rather than, looking over it and measuring it perfectly eye to eye. But you will do, you'll take your time and build it all up. So let's trim these off. Even though they're wibbly wobbly, we won't worry about that for now. So just literally trim away. If you've got no patience, this maybe isn't the one for you, because I think you do need a certain amount of patience to be able to create your own. Right, so let's move our little bits out of the way. So now we've got the basis of our lattice, and that's building it up, and the first thing that you could create. If you're happy with that, then what you do is now you want to take your tape, double-sided tape, around the edge just to catch all those ends of the strips. However, If you want to take it to the next level and you want to be able to start plaiting it, like these have been, well, I'm saying plaiting, it's weaving, isn't it? So the reason why we've used the semi-permanent adhesive is that you can pick one end up and then you start and you can weave under one over the next. Now I need to pick this up and do it. So you start from the middle, under, over, under, over, and looks like I'm making a bit of a hash of it at the moment, but it's only because I'm having to hold it in the air so the camera can see it. So that's the middle piece that you've weaved. I always start with the middle one because then you've got the basis of which way your pieces need to go. So then it's under, over, and so on. And that will eventually build your weaved lattice like the one that we started with. Now once you've done that, that's when you need to add all the tape on the background. It's literally just to hold the edges of the paper that you've been weaving. And again, if you use wet glue, then it will start warping, so you're better off using the tape. So once you've got the basis of how you're weaving everything, you can make a straight weave and lattice. So that is literally cutting out the frame and going straight across, again following the grid lines on the mat, and again downwards. Now I used wet glue on that, that's how I found out that it warps a little bit. So don't do as I do, do as I say. I think that's the old motto. And then what you can do is start using different types of lattice and different sizing amongst the actual strips, and then back it. You see I've backed that one just to make it all tone in. And that is how I made my lattice for the card and for anything else that I've used. So I hope you've enjoyed this demonstration for the technique of making lattice. If you have, please, give me the thumbs up below. Don't hesitate to comment. Please subscribe to my channel for lots more interesting techniques and demonstrations and card making. And thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.